Hello guys, today I want to show you this camera I have. It's a Pentax Spotmatic SP1000. This is kind of like the economical version of the Spotmatic because Pentax got rid of the self-timer. But everything else is pretty much like a Spotmatic. It feels like a Spotmatic, it shoots like a Spotmatic. I can't show you the shutter sound. It's pretty nice and clean, I should say, because I have a raw film in here, so I can't show you today. This camera, I had it for about a year. I bought it because how clean the front is. You know, I said in my previous videos, I like the grip side to be clean. I don't like the self-timer here. I mean, I rarely use the self-timer, almost never, right? So it's good to have a, you know, less is more to me. I feel like it's good to have nothing in here, just nice and clean. The reason I want to show you this is because I just got this camera back from a repair person in the US. And this camera, I like it, but the only thing I don't like, or like any other Spotmatic, is that they all only had the micro prism screen. That's it. They don't have the split image screen. I love split image screens. So I had an idea. I was like, well, can we install a split image screen on these cameras? And the answer is yes. You're just gonna have to find a split image screen from a donor body, right? So the repair person recommended me to look for a Pentax K1000 SE camera, and that's also has to be early version. What I mean early version is Pentax over the years tried to reduce cost. So they made these K1000 for many years, and they keep changing little by little and make it cheaper and cheaper. I know the very last model, they were made in China. The top and bottom covers were plastic. I think the chassis is still the same, but I have another copy like that. It works fine. It just when you hold on to it, it feels like, you know, they're still chromed and looks like metal, but it doesn't feel the, you know, as cold as metal. It's kind of weird. And you know, if you are a beginning film photographer, that camera is fine. I mean, totally usable. It just, you know, anyways, I'm kind of a sidetracked myself. So early version of the K1000, or the have the shutter speed dial with all the speed engraved into the dial. And later in the production, they decided, you know, maybe, you know, save on cost. These numbers were printed on instead of engraved onto the shutter dial. So that's kind of a indication. Tells me which one is the early version, which one's the late version. And Pentax K1000 SE are the camera model that features the split image screen. And most of the Pentax K1000, if it's not an SE model, they have the micro prism as well. So now, with the SE model, some of the SE model I came across that the SE were on a sticker instead of engraved into the top plate. So when the sticker fall off, you think it's a regular version of K1000 until you look through the viewfinder, and then you notice the split image. So I think those camera bodies were SE. Don't quote me on it. That's just my personal opinion. Anyway, so I found this donor body on eBay for about $30, I think. It was as a parts camera. I was told the meter is not working. When I got the camera, the shutter fires every speed, and I was able to look through the viewfinder. It's fairly clean. And I say, hey, I mean, I don't really need the meter. I can just use it. So after I shoot through a single roll, okay, back up a little bit. At that time, I did not check for infinity focus, the focusing accuracy. So I shot a roll of film at the Washington Beach, coast, and the picture came out out of focus. So obviously, this camera, if I need it, I need this camera to work for me reliably, I will have to have it serviced. So anyway, just a little bit background story. So this camera basically become my donor camera. I asked the repair person, basically, instead of taking the screen and move it to here, I wanted him to kind of swap them. That way I can still use this camera, like if I have to, or if I want to teach somebody photography, I can hand them this camera, they can use it. So that was the intent. So I got both the camera back. This one, beautiful. Everything, when I look through the viewfinder, split image. One of the reasons I want the split image is because I came across two M42 Carl Zeiss lenses. This one is the planar 50mm f1.4 ZS lens. The ZS meaning it's a screw mount. I did not know Corsair also made screw mount M42 screw mount lenses before. I thought they only made the Zeiss lenses for Canon or Nikon mount. So until I came across this, I was like, oh, I should buy it. I bought the lens before the camera. So I really want to use this lens properly. Previously, I had used this lens with a P adapter on the Minolta SRT 102. It works great. It has a split image. The only problem with that setup is the lens has a little bit of play. Once the lens mounted onto the P adapter and then used on the Minolta, I think probably the reason is because the camera is older, so any lens on there has a little bit play. So I just haven't not find a right camera for it, the screw mount. I know that in the market, if I want the M42 screw mount cameras with split image screens, my choice is very limited. Actually, you have the Praktica, what do they call that? TL1000 or something, Super TL. You're gonna have to look it up. There's a Praktica camera that's that has a split image screen. Then you have the Besaflex. There's two versions of that made by Corsair. That camera is just really, really expensive. I think they're overpriced, and I really feel like the shutter on those cameras, Corsair only have one set of shutter. So when you pick up like a Bessa R or Bessa T or Bessa L or Bessa Flex, it's all the same shutter, and the shutter made the camera feel kind of cheap. I don't know why. It just I don't think for $600 it's a good price of buying an M42 camera. Just my own personal opinion, right? And then they have the Fujica. The one I have is ST801. That one I actually really like, and I will do a separate video about that later. The problem on the Fujica though is although the camera is M42 mount, it has a spring-loaded pin that stick out, and the Fujica native lens have a notch on the lens mount, so it actually click in and lock the lens. I don't know why. I mean, M42 screw mount, you screw that on. I don't think you need to lock it, but on the Fujica you have to. But that pin is spring-loaded, so I have used this lens on the Fujica before. It worked fine. The only problem is I am paranoid. I feel like that spring-loaded pin will scratch the back pane of this or the mount of the lens. I have not noticed any scratches, but That's kind of a, I just want a designated M42 camera for my Zeiss lenses. So I have this one, the 50 mil. I also have bought a brand new 35 mil f2 lens from KEH. That's probably the only place I found 35 f2 in the M42 screw mount for sale, brand new in the US. So if you're looking for one of those, highly recommend check it out at KEH. I don't know how many copies they have. I saw it and price was very reasonable. It's like shy under $700, but for Zeiss 35 f2, I feel like that's just money lens. I just, well, not, and I'm not saying making money lens, I'm just saying that lens is so good. Has a really good 3D separation, 3D pop and color, just sharpness, everything. That lens has it all. So highly recommend that lens if you just want a general lens and looking for something 35 mil. Anyways, so I'm really excited. I have not finished the roll inside of this camera. In fact, I just just loaded the camera. So this weekend I'm gonna take this out and try it. Now back to this K1000. Now it has the Spotmatic focusing screen and prism. I don't know if it's a part of the installation process. Definitely the prism has a crack on it. I don't know if it's just not fitting and we'll try, the repair person tried to fit it in there or not. The other thing is I feel like there might be gaps around the focusing screen, because when I got the camera it was nice and clean, look through the viewfinder, it's clean, but it seems to me there's a little bit of a gap or something. So it's kind of my fault, and I try to use my blower and blow some dust off this mirror, and I think I blew some dust go in, the dust go right into the viewfinder above the focusing screen. So I don't personally, with this experience, I think, well, I'm not a repair person, but I think that the Spotmatic parts into the K1000 is not super great. So someday I want to restore this camera, so I have to find another broken camera to put their part, sealing their parts into this one. At this time, the camera works great. It just got dust, man. It's like a grain of dust in my eyes, It's like I can't ignore it. When I look through the viewfinder, you see those dust. You're like, oh man, I wish those can get cleaned out. So it's a great camera. The repair person did a good job. It made the meter work, and it also serviced all the speed. The only downside is I really think that I need find another focusing screen and prism, because this prism is cracked on this one. Anyway, so yeah, so if you're in the market looking for a M42 screw mount camera, because there's a lot of really classic M42 mount lenses, you're gonna have Pentagon. Those Pentagon lenses are good. Those Eastern German camera lenses, right? You have the cool Takimar, especially that 50 mil 8-element lens. I wish I have one. I can get one someday. I may have to. I heard very good thing about it. That's the only one I think is not radioactive, but don't quote me on it. I think a lot of those super Takimars are radioactive, and you can almost tell by lens turning yellow. Then you have these Zeiss lenses. My next hunt for it'll be the screw mount, the 85 f1.2, the classic 85. That'll be kind of cool. But anyways, so yeah, if you're looking for M42 body, and it's not a bad idea to modify, a Spotmatic with a split image screen. Anyways, I just want to share this story about this camera with you, and hope you enjoy this story, and thanks for watching. Have a good day.